we've been here a month in Lagos. We're going to be in Portugal for a total of 3 months. But let's start with maybe how we decided to start traveling and instead of RVing in the U.S. What that decision-making process looked like. What was our thinking behind that?
Yeah. We kind of quickly, fairly quickly pivoted. Seems like we had our next RV season all mapped out, reservations all made, and we were in Portland for the 3-month winter, taking a break from the RV. And we started talking about the upcoming season that we'd planned and what we were thinking about it and how we were feeling now that we had done one whole, a year in the RV. And started talking about what had worked well and what we would change. And seems like we kind of started thinking, that we really enjoyed the places that we'd gone and had an amazing experience. Some of those we were going to repeat again this second season, and then we were going to add in some new areas, but we were also going to go back to some of the same areas again. So we started talking about how we felt about that and what we were most excited about, the areas we were most excited about going to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, we've talked a lot for a while about, at some point during retirement, we'd like to do some international travel.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of figured the RV wouldn't be this way. We figured the RV wouldn't be like permanent.
Right. But with the pandemic, the RV travel through the U.S. was perfect.
Yeah, it was great.
And we didn't want to be trying to travel during the height of the pandemic, so that worked out really great. But we started to feel like maybe the pandemic was, maybe winding down a little bit. And some travel restrictions were starting to get opened up a little bit more.
Yeah. And also we weren't in the RV all the time. It was in the wintertime, we decided to kind of park the RV and spend a few months in Portland near Brian and Kim. So then we were financially we were paying double. We're paying the RV payment plus the storage plus the Airbnb, the monthly Airbnb.
Right, and we realized that in some locations we preferred being in an Airbnb type situation over the RV. The RV worked amazing in state parks and national parks and along the Oregon coast and Capitol Reef, southern Utah. But when we wanted to see our family or friends or kids, then the RV sometimes was a little bit more challenging because we had to kind of find a RV campground on the outskirts of a city or whatever, and then we were quite a distance from hanging out with them. So we did start thinking that during those times that we were visiting the kids, sometimes it was we preferred to be somewhere where we could be in a neighborhood that was real walkable and close to them and hang out. So then, like you're saying, that meant, parking the RV and paying kind of double during those times. So we started kind of adding that up and thinking, maybe the RV was better seasonally versus full-time all year round if we wanted to be visiting family or friends or going to certain places. And so kind of just started adding it all up and thinking, well, maybe we should rethink how we did the RV.
Yeah.
Should we?
That from a financial standpoint, the monthly Airbnb was doable for us in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
We started thinking about, well, what do those look like elsewhere in the world?
Yeah.
we kind of said, oh, that's actually kind of similar.
Yeah. So then we started thinking, well, we could, park the RV sometimes during the year and travel sometimes, but then that would get really expensive because we're still, like you say, having to pay. Woo!
Whoops.
Woo!
Yeah.
As we climb down the cliff.
Yeah.
Pay for storage, pay the,
Oh, jeez.
loan payment, all the expenses for the RV as well as then where we were living. So we kind of started thinking, okay, seasonally, that doesn't really make that much sense to have this huge RV like this if we're not actually going to be in it full time. So then we started thinking, well, all right, maybe we should consider not doing the RV for a while and trying something entirely different. And we knew that the used car prices were kind of in a bubble and super high. And we thought, gosh, wonder what RV prices are. And it turns out they were in a bubble too. Jordan made a couple phone calls to different RV dealers that purchased used RVs, and really after just about 3 phone calls, we ended up with an offer for what we had bought the RV for, and just with some digital pictures, and so that kind of really then drove us to wow, maybe this is a good time to sell the RV. We got a dealer that's offering us something in Arizona where it's stored close by. We could get what we paid for it. It would be super easy. We've already moved most of our stuff out because we were in Portland. So it wasn't a ton of work to empty the rest of it out. And so
yeah,
we kind of decided, all right, well then what would we do?
Yeah. So why Portugal?
Yeah, we started making lists of countries that we were excited about. And then we started kind of researching those countries. Climate and costs and Airbnbs that would be available, best seasons to visit. And we figured, if we were leaving Portland in March and we wanted to see family a little bit, that would put us kind of in a spring time frame. So we just kind of started thinking, all right, which of these will work out really great for spring and early summer? And Portugal kind of came to the top. We'd been to Spain before,
Yep.
and Italy and France, and we loved it, but we had never been to Portugal. So Portugal it was.
Yeah.
So we signed our acceptance letter for the sale of the RV. Jordan flew there, cleaned it out, drove it over, signed the paperwork. We made our travel arrangements to Portugal, let everybody know. And then we started working down through a huge long list of to-dos to get ourselves ready for traveling internationally for 3-month block, because we've never done that long.
So should we talk about kind of our experience here so far?
Yeah.
We've been here a month, and do we have any surprises? Like what was different than our expectation?
Oh, gosh. We weren't sure how we would like being in one place for an entire month.
Right.
But if you do a month rental with Airbnb, you get a discount usually. And so that really was a good motivation to, instead of trying to bop around like we've done in previous international travel, to just base ourselves for a month. So that was one thing we came into not knowing kind of how we would like it. But we've really liked it.
Yeah.
Our place, the apartment that we're in, we really love. It's right outside the Old Town part. So we can, we can walk to the old town. We can walk out here to these cliffs where we're at today. We can go to a couple beaches by walking. You can do a lot just walking.
Yeah. I've been surprised at how much I have loved it. Over the years, we sort of learned what we each like to do and see. And this area just checks a lot of boxes for me. I think for both of us. But,
yeah.
I think dramatic, like, coastline, any kind of, steep mountains or cliffs with views, with water.
Yeah, this amazing water.
Amazing, like geologic formations. I love, so like when we were in southern Utah, we had the arches and the cool geography. And when we were in, Oregon and Washington along those coastlines, Oregon has these dramatic rocky cliffs along the coast, which we loved. We've loved like mountain ranges. So yeah, it's really been, it's been so, not perfect, but it's been magical. I've been surprised at how much I've liked it. I thought we would like it a lot. I've been surprised at like, it was beyond my expectation about how much we...
Yeah, we're loving it. I mean, it's, you also have the wonderful old town cobblestone streets and the architecture and little places to sit outside and, that you can listen to musicians or you can eat at a different, place. And the food here is incredible. We've eaten all sorts of amazing seafood that we've never tried before.
Yeah,
and
eating out has been a nice surprise too. In Portland, when we had the Airbnb there, we cooked quite a bit for ourselves.
Yeah, we rarely ate out actually.
And here we've been, let's face this way. Here we've been, have we cooked it all? Lunches.
I mean, we're doing is pretty much every dinner. Pretty much every dinner we've gone out every night to eat dinner.
Yeah.
So that's the meal that we've kind of explored, and that's been super fun because we've just tried all kinds of different things, and sometimes it'll be depending on where our day's activity is. We'll look up and hit a place that's in that area. Sometimes we play during the day and then we come back and wander in the old town and eat. But all different types of food and seafood.
Yeah.
Some which we've liked more than others, but and amazing vegetables and colors and.
Yeah, the food has been just amazing.
Yeah.
And we kind of budgeted for doing that. And yeah, I was surprised at how much we're eating out, but also loving it.
Yeah.
It's like a highlight. Most days I'm like looking forward to, what place do we try this time?
Yeah.
We've had a few like so, but that's been the exception.
Definitely.
Most of it's just been amazing and beautiful.
And everything from, Belgian pubs to Italian food to tons of Mediterranean to more traditional Portuguese.
A lot of Portuguese.
Greek. Just all kinds of things.
And then here in Lagos, we decided to rent a car for this month because a lot of the things to see are, a drive. It would have been impractical to see all the things we've seen only doing like public transportation.
Yeah, I mean, if you were coming to Lagos for a week or a few days, I don't think you'd need a car. There'd be ample you could do and play and walk and get anything you wanted.
Yeah.
Little grocery things, eating, activities, all of that once you got here.
Right.
But because we were going to be here a month, we knew that we wanted to explore some of the surrounding areas as well. And the public transportation in this southern part of Portugal is a lot less available. And so we decided this month that it would be worth it to us to actually have a rental car, which has been awesome because we have explored and done quite a bit of things that we wouldn't have been able to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
often it's like, we haven't gone really more than an hour and 15 minutes away from Lagos.
Right.
But because we had that ability to go within an hour and 15 minutes,
Yeah.
we could really explore the entire southern part all the way over to just within like 15 kilometers of the Spanish border.
Yeah.
And then up the western coast as well, which is wild and remote, and there is no transportation through there. So that's been amazing.
Yeah. And up in the mountains too. Went to spend a day in Monchique.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
And luckily, the Airbnb that we picked, we're right outside the old town, and we're in an apartment building, and we have not had a problem at all. There's parking all around that apartment building, and it's been very easy for us to find a little parking space.
Yeah, the driving, I've been doing all the driving, and it hasn't been too bad. I feel like I picked up on the signs and stuff pretty quickly. We had to Google some things as we started driving. I'm like, what does that sign mean?
Yeah.
But after a few days, it's been pretty easy.
I mean, it's a manual transmission car, but that's what we drive at home. So we both can drive those.
Yeah.
So that's worked out fine. It's been funny because Jordan's Google Maps voice, he has it on an Australian woman's accent. And so we've really actually thoroughly enjoyed this first while. We kept it on that. And so we've chuckled a lot as we drive because we basically have an Australian accent pronouncing the street names.
Telling us to turn right onto Rua Avenidas. What was the thing? Comunidades Portuguesas.
Portuguesas. So we have laughed and liked that a lot. That's been fun.
We switched to Portuguese instructions, but they haven't been reading off the street names. It's just turn right. So
we have actually no idea what the Portuguese instructions are saying now. Jordan just looks at the map.
We're guessing. She's like, we figured out turn right and turn left.
Yes.
And exit the roundabout.
And rotunda for roundabout, yes. So we pick up a few things, but mostly it was because we were curious how to pronounce some of the words correctly after listening to the Australian version.
We figured Portuguesas wasn't the correct pronunciation. So.
I do miss that, though. And it's really awesome because, we kind of have a little bit of a routine. We're pretty relaxed with what we're doing. Before we came, I had done a whole bunch of research and had made, a list of things that I was interested in having as options for us to do, places to go, hikes to do. We made a little list in All Trails that we use for our hiking ideas. And so then we just kind of look ahead and at the weather and be like, hey, what do you feel like doing, tomorrow or this week? And then some days, we don't feel like doing anything and we take breaks. Some days Jordan has hung out at the apartment and I've wandered Old Town myself and sat and listened to music, or sat at the beach with my headphones in.
Yeah, that part has been different than a vacation. Because we're pacing ourselves more. We're trying to get a sense of how much energy we have on a certain day, and then planning accordingly.
which is quite a bit different. You know, when you have a vacation and you're like, okay, we got 1 week in Portugal or whatever it is, you know, you're packing in every day because you're trying to do all the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
But because we're here for a month, we can take it a little bit more at a leisurely pace, and we'll go a few days in a row where we've done, and then we'll be like, okay, we just have a quiet day and do whatever each of us feels like. Sometimes that's together, we're hanging out. Sometimes we do our own thing, which has been very easy to do in this location because you can walk to various places to sit or get out very easily from the apartment. So even though I'm not driving the rental car, it's real easy for me to have plenty of areas that I can go for myself and
Right.
take a break. And so that's worked out great. Our little apartment has a washing machine, and they're really tiny. So you do a small little load, and then it's got a drying rack. And we just put that out on one of the balconies in the sun or inside the apartment to dry the clothes, and it works out really great. So that's been really nice because we haven't had to hit a laundromat at all.
Yeah. And when we're not out exploring, what types of things have you enjoyed doing as kind of a hobby?
I mean, I spend a good portion of my time going through all the bajillion pictures I'm taking.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of pictures every day. So, yeah, I'm usually working on pictures, sorting pictures, doing a blog post, or I'm reading things, you know, various things, listening to music, sitting on the balcony looking out, or like I said, sitting at some outside little patio downtown and people watching or listening to music.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, it's been a mix of things. I've been, keeping up on our Tesla investments. So I spend still a good portion of each day trying to keep up on what's going on there, and also with the market in general, because seems like we're either already in a recession or headed there. And so, since we're living off of our retirement investments, that's kind of a priority to make sure that we're staying on top of that so we can stay retired. And then I've been really having fun as part of that. In addition to it being an investment, I just genuinely enjoy learning about, artificial intelligence, about like the things that Tesla does, manufacturing process, the way they're organized as a company. So I've had fun like researching that. I've like on the artificial intelligence stuff, I'll watch, like in the past I've watched YouTube videos of a Stanford class on AI. Like I'm taking the class. I'm reading a book now from one of a leading expert in this, and watching lots of videos, and so that's been fun for me to kind of learn new stuff.
Jordan's way better at that, doing that on a regular basis. I'm drinking Portugal Algarve versions of the Caipirinha and listening to musicians on the street.
Well, but you're also spending a lot of time, like, after you go take pictures during the day, you spend a lot of time, like, sorting through them and, cropping them and adjusting them.
And then I'm also having fun, like, I learn lots of facts and history and tidbits about the areas that we've explored so that I can include some of that sometimes in the blog post. And so that's fun because I learn about things that I didn't know about this area, which I like.
Yeah. And I feel like we're both sort of still expecting that over time we'll discover more like hobbies or things that interest us in addition to the exploring. But I feel like we're not like pressing on that. We're just like take it as it comes.
Yeah. We're just really, really trying to just take it day by day, which is part of what I really wanted to get better at. I haven't been very good my whole life at being able to sit and relax and just listen to music or like not plan everything out. And so this is kind of a stretch for me in retirement to learn how to do that better, be more relaxed and at ease, because I think that's healthy to have that balance. So that's good.
Yeah.
It's helping me do that. Oh my gosh, and we get to see things like this. Yeah. You see the kayakers down there, we have done that a couple times. Kayaked our way along the base of these cliffs and in and out of some of these caves and stuff. And it's really cool to hike on the top here and get this view, and then to see it also down from the water and go in and out of little teeny spaces where you can barely fit your kayak. And we've loved that.
Yeah, this section of coastline here in Lagos is just stunning.
Yeah, it really is.
So many little arches and nooks and little caves and yeah.
Well, and you can see
kayak,
as we walk along, like there's all these, there's a boardwalk that you can take, but you can also, there's all these little paths and trails that are all along the cliffs. And so even though there are other people out and about, it has never felt super crowded here. There's always plenty of area for you to spread out. And if you want to plop down, you could. Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah. We've done the kayaks twice, and I've absolutely loved that. We also did a boat ride out of Portimao up to the Benagil caves. I liked that a lot.
That was great.
But yeah, the combination of the views from the water as well as up, from above, and also down on the beach.
Yeah.
There's been some really cool beaches where you can go through little tunnels and under arches.
And they build steps down the rocks so that you can get down to little tiny beaches and coves. And there's lots of hidden little beaches all along here. That's really what Lagos is known for, is its beaches and its cliffs. People come from all over Europe here in order to enjoy this.
Yeah. It's a lot of tourists here. But like you said, it doesn't felt super, even though there's lots of tourists, it's not like super crowded. And it's all like outdoor type tourism.
That's mostly what we're doing. In town, in Old Town, it can get a lot more congested depending on when you're walking around. But if you go in the morning, or if you go earlier out to eat, that kind of thing, it's not. And even so, it hasn't felt. There's only been a couple times where it's like, wow, there are a lot of people out here today. Really, for the most part, part of that is because we're on the early side. We're here in the shoulder season. So really, things will start to pick up now once you get to mid-May, and by June, July, and August, this area will be much more full of people. Yeah. So really nice for us because we're kind of a little bit ahead of that.
Yeah. It's not all been like hunky-dory. We had a recent, let's go this way. Just trying to do a 360 here with the camera. We had a recent incident.
Do you want to go down this way?
Yeah, that's the point here. So you're saying about you've been reading about...
Oh, I've been reading about pickpocketers. Whenever we travel internationally, we've tried to be really aware of that and put our things in, secure bags and that kind of stuff. Jordan is usually carrying this backpack where he can zip things up.
Yeah. And
I had kind of a over the shoulder kind of bag that didn't zip or anything. It was just kind of like a canvas bag. And I was throwing some of my things in the bottom of that because I was trying to get a layer in case it got cool. And sunglasses, several more things that would fit more than just the little teeny black purse I had. And so one evening, it's funny because it's the only time I've ever hung my bag on the chair in the restaurant. Usually I always put it on the ground because we were sitting outside and I would put it on my feet. But we went into a restaurant this time, and my seat was facing Jordan, and Jordan was facing back towards the door, and there was a table behind us that was empty when we sat down. And I hung my bag on the chair, and we ordered, and I was aware that a man came in and sat behind me at that table, and I remember hearing him scoot his chair up right behind me, but I didn't think too much of it. And then the waiter gave him his menu, and we were doing our own thing. And then a few minutes later, he got up and gave the menu back to the waiter and said, "I'm going to go to the ATM and get cash." And then he never returned. And I remember us saying, "Oh, that was kind of weird. I bet he's not coming back." But we didn't think much of it at all. And, Jordan's facing me, and the guy is sitting right behind me, and there are other people in the restaurant too. And so we finished eating, had a great meal. Jordan paid with his credit card, and we got home, and we're relaxing, and we start to get notifications from our credit card of a fraud alert. And it's like, "Did you make this?" And it was like, "No, we didn't make that." So we started to look those up, and we were about to respond, and I went to my bag and realized that my card was no longer in my wallet. And what we really do think happened was that that guy probably was a professional and reached into the bag, and while we were there, skillfully and slid out my credit card. I only had one credit card with me. We had left backups in the apartment, and we tried to only carry one just in case there was an emergency or something like this happened. And he must have removed my one credit card, immediately left the restaurant, and started charging things. And he was definitely making his way around, and there were a number of charges that he'd already
made 6 or 8 charges by the time we realized.
Before the chase fraud alert kicked in. So he definitely knew what he was doing. And so that was unnerving because it was like, holy cow, we were sitting right there. Jordan was facing me. We were in a restaurant, and the guy was able to actually do that. So
well, the good news is that's the only thing that he grabbed. So it wasn't like he grabbed your passport.
No,
or
I didn't have that with me or anything, so that's good.
So that was good. And, the fraud alert happened, and within a couple of hours, and they, flagged all those.
We won't be responsible for them. They flagged it all, shut it down. They'll send us a new card to Lisbon.
It all worked like it should have.
But it was unnerving that that he could do it so brazenly and skillfully with other people all around was really like, wow. And so my new bag, see my new bag. I went out the next day and got myself a bigger bag that I can put my layers in. And all of that, that zips closed so that so that I no longer have an open canvas bag. So there's my travel tip. Have a bag that you can zip even when you think you're in a place that nobody would be able to pull something like that off.
Yeah. I think the other aspect so far is this has been such a magical place, and we've just been so focused on getting out to explore that over the winter in Portland we were really focused on we made some changes to the way we ate. We started exercising a lot, and the eating I think has stayed pretty good, but our exercise has dropped off. So
we're walking amazing amounts of steps every day, but we're not putting our Oculus headsets on nearly as often and actually working out.
So I expect that will shift as we kind of get into more of a routine.
Because we did bring our headsets with us, and I've put mine on once a week since we've been here, which is far less than what we were doing all winter.
But yeah, it's been magical here.
We even had our youngest daughter, Kim. She came actually for a week and stayed and played. And that was really cool. We got to take her to a lot of our favorite spots and explore some new areas with her.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was cool to share it with her. And I loved that she took the time to come see us for a week.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I mean, we're wrapping up we've only got a couple days left here, and then we head to Lisbon. And in Lisbon, we won't have a car. We'll turn the car back in and we'll do city life for a month, which will be completely different.
Yeah. That's part of what our experiment is, like trying to figure out how often do we need a car? Because if we can get by without a car, that's obviously, a lot better on the budget. So, but in places where we need it, like here, totally is worth it. But I am curious to see what our experience is in Lisbon.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it'll be significantly different, and so that'll be cool to experience and experiment with.
Yeah. But yeah, that's 1 month in Portugal.
First month.
Yeah.
Still liking each other, so that's good.
So far.
So far.
All right. Signing off. See you later.